to look at exercises to help your horse become more balanced and come off the forehand and into a more neutral or uphill balance. So the first exercise is just to teach a lift. So lifting through the chest and through the shoulders. Now this takes practice, and if your horse is really overloading downhill and pushing through the chest, it will be very small to start with. The lift is not about the horse going backwards, because we're actually just trying to engage the thoracic sling, lift the horse up through the chest, and for it to find a new balance. It's also not about holding on to the head and lifting the head up, because that won't work either. The lift comes from this area here, so that the horse can actually push down through the front feet, lift up in the rib cage, in the sternum, and lift the rib cage more up between the horse's shoulder blades. So in order to do that, we first find a little bit of a lift in the head and neck. So take the hand directly up. Then what I've done is use the whip cue up towards the sky. So I use the lift up, and I couple that with a little bit of a click. So a little bit of a speedy click. And then you just get a little bit of a distribution. Yeah, there. So she doesn't necessarily step back, she just comes up. So we let her drop again. So back to the downhill balance and a little bit overstretching the neck. So then when we want to teach that, we take the line. So it's easy to teach this in a cavesson because you're directly on the front of the face. So we lift, come straight up with a flat hand, lift the head and neck up, not by pulling it up, lift, so up and down, good, and then she just lifts through the sternum, brings the front leg a little bit more further forward, comes a little bit more uphill. So if you're working with a horse that is really struggling and is really pushing, sometimes what they might do is try to push forward and over the top of you. Let it go, reposition them, find another place in the arena to halt or wherever you are, and start again. So it takes time for them to understand I have to push into the ground and push up through my front legs, not just drop forward through my front legs. Don't let them lean on your hand. So it's also not about that they push into your hand and you're holding their head up. They need to be able to lift the head and neck, then lift up through the thoracics and in between the shoulder blades so they can find a new distribution of weight through those four limbs. In an uphill way, just need to control the left shoulder. Good. Then the front feet can come more forward. So we saw that also with the pony. So once you can do it in the standstill, you can work on doing that in motion as well. Other things we can do to help the horse balance is transitions. So what we can do, we can use our uplift and take that into a transition. So we can break that down from the halt. We go from the halt, lift, then into forward momentum. And then we see if we can sustain the lift. So we're going, lift through the head and neck, lift through the sternum, lift through the chest, and then take that into forward momentum. So the forward momentum doesn't come from the hind leg driving. It first comes from the shoulders lifting out of the way. So it's important to think about that and to understand that you need to get the lift in the sternum for the hindquarters to be able to engage. So we'll do that again. The halt, so I can also do it in the downwards transition. I don't want her to fall on the front, so I'm coming up with the whip. She thinks I want haunches in. Hold. Good. So from the lift, so the head is already up. A little bit of lift, then a little bit of forward. Sustaining the lift. So if they have a little bit of a topple through, then you just lift the head again, lift the shoulders. From a little bit more of a lunging perspective, you can also do the transitions there. So again, I can come directly to the shoulder, lift the head up, lift the shoulders up, then I get more forward momentum. I can also do that through the transition, so I come up, lift, and go. So I want her to stay uphill. I want her to look a little bit more my way. Good. And then the same. Up, lift, up, and then down. And then if she has a little drop too much in the neck, you can lift up through the rein. So the hand is coming up, whip to the shoulder, up, out, forward. So she comes up rather than dropping on her front. So again in the downwards, up, good. So you don't have this big tip forward. Also do that over your pole. So poles is also a great way to work on balance. So you start first of all with one pole. So I want up. Good. So again, what we're looking for when we go over a pole, uphill balance. Up. Good. Good girl. Up in the balance in the downwards transition, then walk. Good girl. Very, very good. Up. Up. So when I want up, talk directly to the thoracics up here. Keep the neck out. Up. Good. So we're really working up and into the shoulders.